welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker Training. I'm Richard Carlton, creator of FMTraining.tv, where every day we're doing, well, almost every day. Every once in a while we have a bad day, but we try to make up for it. And so today is Monday. We're talking about data viewers and debuggers. So Margaret, are you there?
I am here. Yep.
Well, we are there. Great. So I'm going to bring up Zoom real quick so I can see you and Calvin. Oh, there we go. Great. So the broadcast schedule today is debugger and developer tools. Once again, this is for beginners. We got Calvin here for the first half of this event, and then he has to run off to do important meetings and things, which is very good because we always need to be making money so we can keep the lights on. So today's conversation, and I don't know if Calvin, you want to share your screen or not, but the short version of the conversation, we're going to be hitting on this again in about 2 weeks or so, is this idea that we ran into this with a number of people. It happened last week with Margaret. But the idea is that you're in a FileMaker and something doesn't work. And how do you troubleshoot it? And really, at the end of the day, I mean, I remember this being when I was young and learning and stuff, that seeing how people solve problems, watching them solve the problem, doing the mental gymnastics or what sort of mental awareness, right? How do you solve the problem? We run into people all the time. They click the button, doesn't work, and they go, doesn't work. I have no idea how it works. I have no idea, right? And so, yeah, it doesn't work. In fact, you should assume that most things you build, at least the first time through, won't work. And so what do? You just change it randomly and then hope for the best and try it again? I mean, that is one technique. It's if one grenade doesn't kill the terrorist, then maybe 2 or 3 grenades would be better, right? But sometimes you need to finesse the process. Instead of throwing grenades and hoping for the best, you finesse, you look at what happens. And so Calvin, right, it's so funny. They build things, it doesn't work, and they're literally stuck. So if you build something and it doesn't work, what do you do? What do we do?
Here's an example. So I just broke a script. So I've got this. So what do we do when we have something that doesn't really work? Now I just did this, and I probably let me make some other adjustments here to the script. I'm going to just take this script and make it so that it's going to do something that that we would like it to, that it would be really useful. And so here we have 12 records. And the green ones are active records. And I've got this great button that says find active, and it says no records match the find criteria. So what's going on here? So sometimes when you're first starting out with scripts, you might do you might just write a script, push the button, see if it works. And if it doesn't work, you'll open it up and make some changes. Here, let's find that script. It's called new find or something like that, new find script. And I'm going to look at this and, okay, the status, I'm looking for the number 1. Well, maybe I just need to put 1 equals sign in there. Let's try that. And now we'll find, oh, well, that didn't work either. So if you can keep making adjustments to these and hope that it works. But one thing that's going to really help is if you open the Script Debugger and walk through that script.
Okay, so let's I'm going to reemphasize this 100 times. If you want to open your script up on one pass and look for any obvious stupid maneuvers that you've done with it, and I normally do that 2 or 3 times, and then at some point I go, damn, it's broken, I don't know why, and I get frustrated, and the default answer must be, I want to watch the script run in slow motion.
I like the slow motion idea.
Slow motion kung fu, right? And if you do that, because I'm not going to pick on Centaur, but it was a classic case, and that's why I love talking to all of you. Sometimes I talk to you and I do individual training with you a little bit. And Margaret, we're talking with Centaur 272, and they remind you of how you were 20 or 30 years ago or 10 years ago, whenever you were a brand new person. They remind you of all the things you did, and you realize the frustration they have, and if you could just teach them a couple things, their lives would be so much better. And so slow motion, and watch where it fails on the kung fu, right? So go ahead and do your kung fu now.
Yeah, and just take one step back. We've got this tools option here in the menu, and I'm using the standard FileMaker menus. If you don't see this tools option, you have to enable it. So
You must
go to-
enable the Kung Fu. Kung Fu is
Yep.
disabled. You must enable Kung Fu.
You have to go to your preferences, which on
Mhm.
Mac is under FileMaker Pro preferences, and then select this Use Advanced Tools
Use
checkbox.
Kung Fu. Use Kung Fu. Yes.
Yeah, check that, and then you know Kung Fu.
Well, you have to,
Yeah.
and then you have to quit FileMaker and reopen it, right?
Yeah, and
So-
whenever you change this, you get a little dialog, FileMaker Pro restart required. So I'm going to leave it where I want it, which is enabled. And then you go to this first, so go to Tools. If it's not there,
Which should say Kung Fu right there. It should say Kung Fu.
the Kung Fu Tools.
Kung Fu
And
tools.
then select Script Debugger. Now I say Find Active. And I press the button, and here we have a call stack of all the scripts running, which is just
What is
one
a call
script right
stack?
now.
What is a call stack? You just
It's
said
the-
the scripts that are
It's
running.
the list of scripts that we're going to be running during whatever process. And you'll see if we call subscripts, you'll see everything listed here in the call stack.
So normally if you have a single button that calls a single script and that script doesn't do anything else crazy, the call stack is going to be very boring and not very interesting. But if you have a script that calls a script, that calls a script, that calls another script, that calls another script, then that list will get long and can be very helpful. Right?
And
But-
it will also tell you the script parameters that you used, which we talked about that last week. And so that's another helpful thing you can see. In
Ooh,
the call
you might
stack.
show that. I don't remember where it does that.
It just shows it right after the
Really?
file, the script name.
You're kidding. Does it really do it right there? I normally look at it at the data viewer, which is the extra Kung Fu. You have Kung Fu, then you have extra Kung Fu.
Right. Yeah. We'll see that in a minute. So
Okay.
here we're walking through this now. These items that I disabled.
I have a question. We see it's stepping through.
Mhm.
So if we hit, there's 4 buttons there. Okay. At the end of the day, we really only care about the second button. In my opinion, if you learn none of it, if you have to learn one thing, the stop button is a stop, the play button is the play, and the second indented button there on the right, not that one more, that one is the button that's the essential one button. It does,
Mhm.
it forces it to do every line. It's like step the next line, it doesn't skip anything. It does every last single line. So if you're a brand new beginner, forget the 2 buttons to the right and the one to the left. Focus on that one button right there, okay?
Yeah.
And when you
Step
press
into
it, it's going to run line 11 or line 14. So if you see it on 14, it's telling you it's about to run that line, but it hasn't done it yet. That's
Mhm.
super essential because you're looking at that, you're like, did it just do 14? Or is it going to do 14? 14, line 14 is about to happen or has happened at 14. It's about to happen. So you're going to get ready with your Kung Fu and you're going to watch line 14 go.
There we
Go
go.
ahead and do that.
We'll hit this one, and there's our error. We'll
Okay.
say continue, and we got this nice error message: 401, no records match the request. Now I see, because no records match the request, there's something wrong here. So whatever my field is, the status field isn't looking for a 1. Sometimes we'll use a Boolean value, which means 1 is true and 0 is false. So sometimes we have a status field where 1 means active and 0 means inactive. And in this case, if we look at that status field, we're going to find out that that's not what. I'm just going to switch this to status so we can see what's in there. And Command J will show me everything. Okay, so we're looking for the actual word active.
So can you before you do that, can you run that script again and let's watch that? Because it should have shown us the in-flight Kung Fu on the layout. There it is. So he's about to enter fine. They hit that right there. 1, 2, 3, hit it. Good. You hit the next. Okay, stop. That's essential. So you are in the middle of a find mode. So we have entered find mode. We have put the data in. We have not executed the find mode. This is so important. So you're stepping through FileMaker and you're watching, you're literally stopping slow motion. And you're like, hey, that guy, it's not right. That's wrong. It's so wrong because that equal 1 is wrong. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. You can see inside of finds. If you code the finds the way I tell the beginners to code the finds, which is explicitly enter the find mode, set the data, perform the find. If you code it the way I'm telling you, it helps you understand it and debug it better. Right?
Right. So here, let's go ahead and fix this. I'm going to say status so we can see this. And let's go ahead and just update this so that instead of saying number one, we're going to look for active.
Okay.
And let's try that one more time. I'll do it with the script debugger again. So we find active. Now we see a perform script. It's from this button.
Okay.
And now let's step into that. Oh, I selected the wrong one. Let's try that one more time. We'll step into it. And now it enters the find mode.
But I hadn't done it yet. Now it does it. There you go. Yep. What do equal mean? Would you like, okay, because you're cutting ahead to next Monday, because Monday is special operators hanging out of helicopters.
Okay, so equals means it needs to be an exact value. So if we go here and say insert operators, you'll see match whole word or empty or match empty, match entire field. So the entire field has to equal active. Go ahead and take a second, since we don't have questions, to show that script parameter feature.
Yes, let's do that.
So I'm going to put a script parameter here.
What is a script parameter, everyone? What is a script parameter? I need someone to answer that question on Discord. So no one's actually here. They're all dead.
I guess so. Do you want me to try to answer the question?
Yeah, what is a script parameter? Tell me what a script parameter is. If you're an instructor.
They're dead, Jim.
What is a script parameter? What do you say? I missed it. What?
I said they're dead, Jim.
They're dead. Oh, they're all dead. Yeah, no.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously, we're doing
I was not expecting the Star Trek quote. But a script parameter is a bit of data that you attach to the script to be passed from the script to another script or to another object within the database. It's information that's being passed along between two scripts.
I think, yeah, pass the report. So the idea is that if you are a quarterback in American football, you have a football, and you're the button, and you're going to tell the script to run, and the script is the wide receiver that's running down the field. He's really fast. And you're going to pushing the button is handing him the ball, and then he runs it, okay, for you. You're going to take a Post-it note, as dumb as it is, a little yellow Post-it note, and you're going to write a message on there, I love you, and you're going to tape it on the football, and then you're going to throw that. And the receiver is going to catch the ball. That's the script that's going to activate, and it has a little message for it that it can read from the person who sent it. That's a script parameter. It's a block of text is all it is. It could be one character, one line. It could be 1,000,000 characters or something, a book, half the novel, War and Peace, Peace and War, right?
There is a limit.
There is a limit. It's in millions of stuffs, but so
I have hit the limit before though. So
yeah, Calvin's always, Right, we have questions now?
We had two responses. Centauri said a condition, and then Mikey said value that is passed to the script.
Yeah, so Centauri, I want to make sure Centauri is clear on this. So the script parameter literally is a Post-it note that goes. And then so if you're passing the football forward on the field, and she's from Sweden, so they don't play American football. So if you take a European football, soccer ball, and you kick it from the fullbacks to a forward, okay, and then they stop and they pick the ball up by hand. So it's a whistle, but they could read the message. If they pass the ball backwards to you, that's called a script result. So if it goes forward to them, it's a script parameter. If it comes backward, it's essentially a script parameter going backwards. They call it a script result.
Yeah. Okay. So here I clicked on the find active button and we see here's the script and then it says parameter active. I'm going to step into that. And now you can see on the call stack, we've got the button that started the script. And now we see the script that's running, new find script. And here's the parameter active.
Oh, the brackets right there. I never looked at the brackets. Okay, back up. So if you have like a paragraph of text, it would be a paragraph of text in there? Ugh, okay.
Well, it just cuts it off. There's a ellipsis.
Okay.
So here we enter find mode. And then we set that field active. And then we perform find. And there's our find. But what's awesome about the script parameter, because this is in a parameter, you can have the same script perform two different actions. So let's say find inactive. We're still using the same script. And I'm just going to change the parameter to say inactive. Let's put that egg back in there. Inactive. And so we step into it. It puts in that new parameter.
Mhm.
and performs the find. There's our one inactive record. Find active, find inactive, same script, different parameter, so it's performing a different action, giving us the result we want.
Can I have a script debugger window open while I'm creating a new script?
Sure.
Yep. Yeah, so the script debugger is open right now, nothing's going on. One interesting thing you can do here is you step into a script. Now you've got this pencil button here. You can select the pencil button and it will open the active script. And you can actually make edits to it right now. I'll say exit script. And this actually won't cause any problems. See, I'm still running it until I hit, let's go up here. I'll say, well, I'll hit Command S because that's how I do it. And now I hit Command S or Control S on a PC. And to save this record, it says performing this action will halt the currently running script. Proceed, I can say no because I want to see the script finish. Or I can say yes, it saves the script and cleared out my call stack. That script is no longer running. So handy thing to do that for when you are debugging things. Because sometimes what I'll do is I'll see, oh, there's one minor change I need to make. I forgot to put a comment here. Update set field with the find. Now I don't want to cancel my script here because it was just a comment. So I can still keep walking through this without messing up my while working on this, without messing up the script itself running. But then after I make a number of changes and maybe I want to cancel it, then I can stop it, save, and rerun it. So yeah, you can work on scripts and you can open a different script as well while that's open. But it's a handy feature to have.
What is the pause on error button for? Question.
Oh, good question. So pause on error means that if there's an error in the script's running, runs into an error, the script will pause. It will just stop right where it is. And whether I think that's only if the script debugger is, actually, I think it's even if the script debugger is closed. So let's do another test here. I'm going to say find pending. But this is going to bring up any error that you run into. So maybe if there's a find where there's no find results, that's going to be an error. So now you'll notice as soon as I said pause on error, I didn't have the script debugger open, but as soon as there was an error, it popped it open for me. Did you see that? Let's try it one more time. So I'm going to go back to browse mode. Well, I'm in browse mode. I'm going to select find pending. Now the script debugger, it's empty. It's not open. Now I got my error saying that the script result wasn't found. I'll say continue. Now it paused the script. It paused on that error, and so I can read the error 401 no records match the request. This can be helpful if you're running a script where you don't expect there to be errors. Sometimes you have a loop that's performing a whole bunch of finds and you expect there to be some results that won't be found. Or sometimes you're looping through records. If you have a loop that says go to record next, exit on last, the last record is going to be an error because there's no more records to go to. So an error doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem, but this can be helpful to pause where you are and see where that error came from. Definitely helpful for your debugging. But you can usually when I am running scripts, I either want the script debugger open and I walk through it slowly, or I just have it running without the pause on error. You can still it's still handy. Another thing we can do here that's neat is if you can start a script right from the script workspace. Now we've got a play button that will just run it. And we have a bug, this ladybug. This is debug the script. Now I don't have the script debugger open. If I click on the debugger, the bug button, it opens the script debugger and I can start walking through. Now in this case, this script now requires a script parameter, so it's not going to work if I just call it straight from the script workspace. So it requires that parameter. Any questions there about the starting the debugging from the script workspace or the pause on error setting?
Just someone asking why you would use the little arrow buttons, the rightmost arrow one, why you would use that one.
Okay, yeah, so let's go through these arrow buttons. Now this one, let's just run something here. So this one, which is called step over, is going to, if you have it's more obvious how it works if there's a subscript, but in this case, it's going to run this whole script and without you having to look at it or go step by step through it. Let's find a script button that has a subscript like that. Okay, let's go select accounts. Now I'm going to start using this button, and it's going to navigate to accounts, and that didn't do anything. I was hoping it would. Let's go back to home. So you notice this, especially with script so here we have a script that just ran, which is the record load script on the home layout. Now this arrow, if I don't want to step through each step in here, I can just say, go back to the step out of the script. It runs everything in the script, but I don't have to go step by step through it. So I'm just going to point the step out. It goes back to the first script that I started. And I can keep stepping through this one. And this one, the one on the left, step over, kind of does the opposite thing. Instead, if you have a subscript, you don't have to go step by step through it. You can just run it without having to look at each item. And then the farthest right one, set next step, is really helpful for debugging. If you want to keep running some part of a script and changing things, you can select any line in here. So say you want to go back and do line 20. Now I'm on line 20. And I'll step out of this one. It just runs it. Now, I need to jump over to line 30. You can jump in there. So that means you can skip ifs and jump to a specific place you want to run.
Can you show breakpoints real quick? Because I know you have to leave here pretty quick.
Yeah, so you can jump anywhere you want with this option. So, and another way to stop at a certain place is with a breakpoint, like Richard was saying. So say you want to stop right here, I can put this blue arrow and just press play, and it will stop right there at the blue arrow, wherever I put that. Now, if it's in an if statement that doesn't run, so I'm going to select line 8, move back up to line 8 and try this out. Now skipped, because we're not using the touch mode. It skipped line 12, so it didn't break there. But if I put that somewhere that will run, it'll stop right there on that breakpoint. Really handy for debugging, especially if you've got a long process and you just want to debug one little spot at the end of the script. You can put your break line in there, press play, it runs through everything else in the script and stops at the spot that you're wanting to debug.
So you put the breakpoint, put the breakpoint in where you want it. Then you're going to stop the script, right? Technically, or whatever. Now you cannot put the breakpoint in on the script management window right on the side there. You don't think you can?
Yeah, you can actually. So you can save those breakpoints.
There you go. And there.
So you'll notice here, now it's not saved. I press
save it.
Command or Control S, and now those breakpoints are saved, and they'll be back.
So it'll stop at that spot. So let's run through that. So you put the breakpoints in, then you make sure the debugger is open. Then you fire the parent script that's going to start this whole thing going. It brings up this window over here, and you're going to hit the play button at the top, which normally would play all the way through to the end unless it hits a breakpoint. So you hit the play button there, and so that's kind of the sequence. Margaret, you following this? This is something you need to know, because Margaret's actually debugging some stuff right now.
And one thing about the breakpoints is that it will only take effect. It will only pause there if the script debugger is open. It's not like the pause on error where it just pops open the script debugger and says, "Oh, this is the last place you stopped."
So pause on error, once again, for everyone will, if you go back to that, so it's going to be pause on error. So then that is going to, when it's open, then start the script. Go ahead and start a scripting script to start a script. No, oh, don't close it. You need to want it to be open. Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
So with the pause on error, it doesn't actually have to be open. So here, you'll notice
I almost never use pause on error, right? Because I always know, yeah.
Yeah, so here's our error. Layout object is missing. We're trying to refresh an object that doesn't exist, and it popped up.
So this setting, it's so funny that I've been to pause on error conference and I actually never use that feature, right? It's because for me, it's not about the error, because I have errors all the time that pop up, but I control the errors, I manage the errors. I'm trying to figure out why some window isn't where it's supposed to be. For me, that's not an error, but that's so if you check pause on error and you close the dialog, okay, or close close that one too, close all those. They will just hit tell it to stop or something or whatever, right? Okay. So what's funny about that is that if you close the file, reopen it, so that setting is specific to your session right now. The pause on error checkbox is specific to your session, and you had to be an admin to get to it in the first place, right?
Yeah,
because it'd be bad if this is spawned for your customers out of the blue, right? So
yeah, obviously, definitely
would be bad, because then they'd be like, "Hey, with this debugger, what do I do?" Right? So anyway, interesting. Hey, Calvin, you got to go. Okay. So we're going to let Calvin run. I'm going to be here. Thanks, Calvin. Great job.
Thank you.
Always a really good job with him. All right. So I'm glad you're here, man. So it makes life so much easier when you have great people around you. So does that answer questions about the script debugger in the basic sort of way?
Yeah, it looks like it. Wait, blue are the breakpoints? Yeah, I think the answer was yes to that. Little like blue...
On my computer, there are little blue arrows that go in, right? And you can set, and I thought you could set them in Script Workspace. And what it allows you to do is trigger a script and then have the debugger just kind of ignore everything until it hits that spot. That's what I normally use. I almost never use pause on error because I don't have errors per se like that. I always have a condition I consider it wrong, but it's not an error.
Script Debugger does a lot. Does Data Viewer do anything weird other than just show you the information that you're supposed to be looking at for the file?
Data Viewer has two modes. If you want to pop it up, Margaret, on your computer, we'll just have you do it.
Okay, I will do it. Oh, right. Got it. Understood. Seriously.
Yeah, because you're the junior person. You can do this, right? So close that, open up, starting point. You have the X1 over there on the right. See the starting point?
Oh, I see. Well, okay, got it.
All right, we can see it right now. Here it is. So once again, the tools is the Kung Fu. There's two Kung Fu things here, really.
Did we talk about how to turn these on, by the way? Because that sent me on
We
a
did.
circle.
Calvin, you're busily typing. Calvin spent a couple minutes.
I was responding to people.
Okay, yeah, Kung Fu. Yes, a lot of Kung Fu. So this is the Kung Fu menu. The data viewer shows mostly the current tab is what you see. Hit click current tab. The current tab is going to show you things if there's a script that's running currently, right? It'll show you the fields on the layout and the values of the fields on the layout. It will show you global. So I can actually write a script, Margaret. Go up to Script Workspace and just create a new script and just say set and define a global variable. Just say set v for variable, and then do that, and then just define dollar. Let's do dollar.
Sorry,
doggy, right? There we go. And then give it a value. Now, if you give it no value, okay, so back up real quick. There, in the world of computers and mathematics, there's numbers that start with 1, right? There is the number 0. There's also the vacuum of space. The vacuum of space is the absence of any numbers. A lot of times when we're doing math, 0 and the vacuum of space have the same numeric equivalent, but computer considers them different. So null, N-U-L-L, is the vacuum of space. It's the absence of any numbers. 0 is a number. So sometimes 0 and null are the same. If like that, no, yeah. So if I set, okay, delete all that.
Yep.
If I just do, and I just make this okay, like right now, doggy will never be set. Because remember, doggy is a variable that will only come to life if you give it a value. Null, the vacuum of space, is not a value.
So
therefore it won't give birth, or it'll zero it out. If you set to nothing, it would go away. Now, if you set it to doggy, put doggy as 10, Okay, and then run it. Hit OK, and then just hit play. Let's hit play and run that real quick.
Oh.
Now, notice on current. Now, do this. Now, you got that. So it's it's the only thing that's current. Now, turn on Script Debugger and run that script again. Script Debugger.
Right. Script
Tools.
Debugger,
Kung Fu. Yep, there we go. And then you're going to go, just run that script right there. Hit play. And just don't do, okay, now go to your data viewer and see if you can get to your data viewer. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now step. Okay. I'm trying to get it to show.
Well, it's a global variable, so it.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. Hit watch for fun. Just hit watch. Watch is where you get to put your own things in here. Watch where you can put your own formula in here, right? So
Wait,
current
so
is
you
gonna
could put a formula independent of anything that's actually a variable?
Yeah, clear those out, click on them and hit and get rid of them. Minus sign, minus a trash can. Sorry, it's not minus, that's a trash can down there.
I was confused. Okay.
Well, minus would have been fine too, but someone just said do that. Okay, so you're gonna add that. So create a formula. I would say, let's say get current date.
Yeah, okay.
Current date, right? And then add plus 100 is a number of days, right? Remember, if you add a number to a date field, those are days. If you add a number to a time field, those are seconds, right?
Oh, okay. So can you?
So if you have get current time,
that?
that's how it perceives those numbers, right? So if 100 days in the future is 2/7/2024, hit monitor. Okay. Now, if you came to this tomorrow,
it would change.
It would change, right? It would update and it would change.
Could you pull any information from the data viewer?
Sure, because yes, you can pull things out of FileMaker, and that's one of the security bypasses that people were doing back in the old days. It was this weakness, so it would open up the data viewer kind of subtly, and then they could get data out of it, like your ATM PIN code or something like that, right? So Claris has it so to activate the Script Debugger or the data viewer, you have to have administrative access to it.
Got it. Okay. Do we want to do like a local variable and see how that shows up?
Well, the local variable will show up in so much as that the script is active.
Well,
so,
only for during the script debugger, right?
So you can put a couple returns on there. A couple returns. Set dollar cat, single dollar cat.
There. Okay, variable.
Yep.
And then single dollar
cat. Dollar cat. And have that equal to meow or Bella. There's your cat's name. There we go. Meow. There we go. Bella. Okay. Then put another return, a couple returns down, and hit show custom dialog or beep or something. Yeah, show custom dialog. And then it'll just show, I don't know, just something. Meow.
Meow.
And then hit OK, cancel, meow, whatever. Fine. Okay, great. A custom dialog is the only point is I wanted to give it the script a little girth, little size to it so we can see it.
We can see what's happening. Okay.
So go ahead and hit current. Okay, now go ahead and run that. Run the script. Just run it. Okay. Okay, now it did meow and then hit OK.
Oh, and it disappears immediately.
It flashed, right?
Yeah.
So now go to debugger, turn on the debugger, and slow motion, slow it down.
Okay, so we're gonna hit play.
So it hasn't run yet. Remember when we told it to run the next step, Margaret? So which button is the next step? It's that one right there. Step. Okay, so it already had 10 in it, so it was already there. Now we're going to set the variable $cat. Step. Now $cat. This was we're back to global and local variables. These variables are one specific to this. The global is specific to this file during this session. The local variable is specific to this script. So the cat variable gave birth on line 5, and when line 11 comes, there is no line 11. The script ends. $cat will be terminated. We're going to terminate the cat. Cat's going bye-bye.
Okay, so I'm going to step down again.
It's going to show dialog. Now watch to the right. When you hit OK, boom, Bella's gone. So that's how it does that. And so these are the tools that you have. The idea with the scripts is like, there's a lot of kind of little cute tricks you can do and pause on air and this and the other thing, but just getting to the point where you have a script that doesn't do what you think it should, run it slow motion and watch what happens. I have a
Are any
button.
of these useful? Oh, these are all more complicated, right?
They're different. The top three are interesting. Save XML. Okay, that one don't hit it, but the save as XML right there. Okay, custom menus are okay where Satan hides in FileMaker, and if Satan was little red eyeballs should be looking at you. The gateway to hell is that little menu item right there. I would not click on it because you're
Okay.
opening the gates of hell. Don't do it. Nick
I
did
always
Nick did 3 days to try to explain to us that you could manage hell, and when we were done,
So custom menus aren't just valueless? I always like associate the two in my brain. I don't know why.
custom menus are the things across the top. Those are menus.
Oh,
Now they display down. They kind of look like a value list, but the custom menus were invented back before Clay Mackel was there. And Rick Kalman wasn't even there. It was before Rick Kalman. So the problem is that people have built solutions that use it, and it's a nightmare. And so you'd have to leave the old one in here somehow, like legacy, and build a new system that didn't suck. So we're going to skip that one. We don't want the gates of hell. Save a copy as XML as a prototype technology. It's been a prototype since FileMaker 17 that tells you how old this is. It's a prototype technology that Claris never finished. Why didn't they finish it? Because management decided it wasn't very important. It's probably one of the most important things in the platform. Imagine that you could output a FileMaker application, completely render it out as text, as XML text. And then it's like a Star Trek transporter. Remember we did talk about Star Trek transporter?
yeah.
Star Trek transporter, it can take a person and break you down to molecules, shoot you through the air, and then if you run it backwards to the process, it builds a person with perfect fidelity. It's supposed to use perfect fidelity. The Star Trek transporter in here will render everything out. Imagine I said, beam me, Scotty, beam me up, and William Shatner beamed up without certain parts of his anatomy that he really thinks are important. Okay. He would be pissed off. The captain of the ship would be pissed because you just neutered him or whatever you did to him. Okay? So the idea is that the save as XML is that technology. And it's kind of this with add-ons. If we remember talking about add-ons, the drag and drop add-ons and things, those are XML. So a lot of the developers have been pleading with Claris to finish this, and they've never finished it, mostly because it was never determined important. But if you had this, you could take starting point, you could cut parts of, you go into a text editor and make edits to it, or copy part of it and put it into another solution. You could
So you wouldn't even have to remake it through FileMaker's layout mode. You could just copy parts of the text, dump it into another XML, and then make the FileMaker database materialize.
It's a preview feature.
Bummer.
Which means that you can use it, but if it lops off body parts, you've been warned that it was the transporter was never certified for use of humans or any animals that you like. So that's that. Database design report is the next one. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Developer utilities. That is where, just click on that one real quick. We'll spend a couple minutes on here. So I'm going to hit add a file. Let's talk about this real quick.
Oh.
Pick a FileMaker file. There we add. Now, hit options. We're not going to go through this and do it, but just hit the options, solution options, hit specify. Down the left, down, that one. These are.
Oh.
You've never seen these before. Remember when people said, oh, I want to make a runtime out of FileMaker, right? Make a runtime. Make a runtime. There was a checkbox here. That's why there's a gaping, there's white space down there. There's room for another checkbox. It used to be in here. Create a runtime. The problem with the runtime is that all these people said, oh yeah, FileMaker, Claris will get rich if they give us a runtime. And I was always of the opinion that Claris should charge the developers a chunk of money for that so we had access to it, but they made money from that. Claris never made any money from it, and all these people, promised it never, it never really materially resulted in money going to this is why I always tell people, you want Claris to make money on your business model. If your business model is based upon someone giving you free stuff, their business model is going to crash and burn. Everyone thought, oh, it's the best thing ever. Claris is going to do this stuff for us. Hey, they don't make any money on this. You really want to use this thing? What happens when people don't make money on it? If it's private corporations, they want to make money. They should make money. That's capitalism. We wanted Claris to make money. They didn't, so they removed the feature because they couldn't just leave it in there, because if they leave it in there, they have to test it every release. They've got to go through a testing process to make sure it still works. So it takes time and money to maintain it, even if they don't add features to it. So it was removed. So what do we still have? Remove admin access from a file permanently. So what this does, it takes your solution and it strips out the admin access privilege set.
And you can't ever put it back in?
This is a one-time, one-way deal. Literally, if I lop off body parts, that's what this is. It's a part lopper offer. It's a big cleaver that chops stuff off.
Okay.
And now now, if you're going to give a solution to a customer,
and you don't want them to steal all the stuff that you made for them.
Because here's the thing: if the customer gets a copy of the local file, they can run the local file through some app they buy online and have it break into the file. So how do you prevent that? You prevent it from either using encryption at rest, so the file is encrypted, and then those hacker programs don't work, or you remove the administrative access, so even if they had all the access codes to it, even God can't get access to that file.
Yeah, I guess you better hope that you never made any bugs ever.
Well, what you'd have to do is you have to have a scripted way to take data out of that old file and move it into a new file or whatever, but there's no unwind on that, right?
Yeah.
So that's what this stuff is right here. So kiosk mode, it makes it giant on screen and it hides everything else except it can easily be bypassed. So I got a call from the California prison system 25 years ago. Hey, we got convicts. These are people sanding down a spoon to turn into a knife so they can stick you, okay? They got a lot of free time on their hands and they're bored. And so they said, hey, can we use the kiosk mode so they can use FileMaker to look for jobs? And I'm like, well, yeah, it has to be totally secure. And I'm like, FileMaker doesn't run the operating system. So if you do Command, Alt, Shift, whatever on Windows or Mac, you can kill an app and drop onto the desktop. Then what are you going to do? Your prisoner who's doing 5 life sentences for murder is now onto the desktop of the computer because FileMaker was blocking him, but he did a force quit on it, killed FileMaker, and he's on the computer. So the kiosk mode is there in so much as it's a general push for the person not to go. All these menus up here at the top of the screen that you see across the top of the screen, they're all suppressed. You don't have any menus. You're like, that's so great, except it's a loose suggestion. It's not really secure. Okay.
There's no way to get it so like the computer only has FileMaker on it because, well,
you have to go on the operating system, do something with the operating system. Okay.
Yeah.
And so the operating system only boots to that. It won't run anything else.
Yeah.
And if you do Command, Shift, Alt, Delete or something, you have to, all those keyboard interrupts, as we call them in the operating system, the keyboard interrupts have to be blocked or bypassed or something. Okay.
Got it. Which is not something you can do.
Well, I mean, it can be done, but you have to do that. Create an error log for, you can change the file extension. So if you don't like FMP12, you want to use something else, use Richard Carlton 5, RC5, right? Because you all love me, right?
Wait, this says that it forces them to have a FileMaker file extension. So
databases must have, click on that once. Click on that, so it does. Databases for non-runtime with an extension will be given the FileMaker case. So what it is, it's for non-runtime solution without an extension will be given the, okay. So
isn't this kind of the default? I'm confused.
Back in the day, and I don't know how this interacts with runtimes, it may not be relevant anymore. When you build an application, you have a runtime application. The app has its own extension. That's what extensions are. Extensions tell programs what to run. Like if you have a file that's PDF file, it just tells the operating system that, hey, we think, and I'm saying this, we think that this file is a PDF. So when the operating system, hey, what should I do with it? Says, well, the file says .pdf, which means it's probably an Adobe Acrobat file. Probably. So try to open Adobe Acrobat or whatever is assigned to display the PDF. If you have .fmp12, that should be, in quotes, FileMaker. if you make your own runtime, you don't have FileMaker anymore. You have your own app that you gave birth to. Richard Carlton's amazing tax calculating application. Turbo Richard is your new TurboTax, right? Taxing, right? TurboTax, Turbo Richard, right? So amazing, okay? But Turbo Richard can't use FMP12. It has to use something else. And so it used to be USR or some other things you could use. You come up with your own thing. And so those files then, those FMP12 files were changed to use this other extension. So like the Claris platform that's being deforked, right, had a different platform name. It was .Claris. So that's this whole conversation. We had one platform was FMP12, then it became two platforms. And then it was .FMP12 and .Claris, and then they're being brought together. And so one of those two names is going to go bye-bye. And so Claris decided that 99.9% of their customers are using FileMaker, so we're going to leave it FMP12, and all the people who have .Claris have to migrate. Okay, that's what extensions are. Okay, enable database encryption. This is a really bad name for this. That is because it's the marketing department got in there and named it after everyone else. We called it encryption at rest, EAR. And so once again, I wouldn't have a job if I didn't have sales and marketing people mislabeling things. I could spend my entire career just trying to translate what was originally supposed to be to what it is now, right? So enable database encryption. So this is where you encrypt the file. It also, it encrypts it. So if someone gets the physical file, they can't break into it unless they have a supercomputer and a lot of time to do it. Which means if the US government wants it bad enough, they'll probably get into it. But your average hacker is not going to be able to get into your file. Your disgruntled employees cannot get into the file. If you don't write the password down, which is the most likely person that's going to get skunked on it, you won't be able to get in the file. Okay.
So, related question. This says remove database encryption. I thought EAR was like, there was no undo button for EAR.
No, if you have the password for EAR.
Oh, if you have the password for here, then you, okay.
Hey, you want to undo this file? You better tell me the super secret code first. Then I'll remove the super secret code. Then you'll get a regular file.
Got it. Okay, I understand.
Yes,
I was
yes,
confused.
yes. All right. So real quick on the debugging stuff, let's talk about this briefly here, real quick. Go ahead and I'm gonna go and quit sharing your screen. I'm gonna share my screen here briefly. Hopefully this will work as advertised. So let's talk about this real quick. So
base elements.
So if you have the one option up here, if I open this up, oh god.
You remember your password?
1, 2, 3, 4, I think. I hope. Oh no. Okay. All right, cancel that file. Let's open a different file that we actually here we go. All right, so we're in the fire marshal file that's spelled either correctly or incorrectly. It depends on what kind of marshal you are. If you go to tools, once again, the tools have to be enabled. We had that conversation at the beginning. Save a copy as XML. You don't want that one. You want a copy of XML. This is the prototype preview one that's not finished. You go to database.design report. You want the fire marshal. You want all this stuff. You want it to come out as XML. So both that other menu and this right here will both create XML. This one here is a final specification. It's been around for 15, 20 years probably, okay? The XML over here is this new super duper one that's not done. This one right here. But use the XML in here to kick out this XML files. You read them into base elements, right? You come over to base elements and you say import the file, and you're going to target that file. You're going to import it. It's going to do this analysis on it, right? And out you're going to get is a report on, like, this is a copy of starting point X4, light X4. What I've been doing is I've got a bunch of Nix scripts in here, neomorphism, whatever, this, that, and the other thing, and they're not being used and not being referenced. So what we're doing is I'm removing the scripts, then we're going to backtrack and rename things and make sure everything works correctly. So it tells me, hey, these are errors, like legit straight up errors in it. And these are where it has unreferenced things, like there's a field or something in the solution, but it's not used anywhere, or it doesn't think it's used everywhere, okay? So if I go over here to scripts, I use base elements very lightly. As a professional developer, you start to play with it, you use more. It has tons of features and capabilities here. It's like it's like how I use Monkey Bread plugin versus how Christian Schmidt uses Monkey Bread plugin, right? Totally different, okay? You go to scripts over here, I have 21 scripts. are 21 scripts that, if I create scripts, they're unreferenced. So they see the unreferenced right here. So I have 21 scripts that are unreferenced, and I have a bunch of fields unreferenced too. So what I'm going to do is go through these scripts, and all the ones that are unreferenced, I'm going to do stuff to notify. That's me writing, so I would want to check that to make sure it may be a testing script. This is an alternate style one. We're not using that. But you go through here, you can find all these and delete them because they're not officially referenced, okay? Understand that this is at a beginning and intermediate level. We're talking about that. You can reference things through indirection, and that's another conversation I'm not going to get into. But if you said perform a script and you passed the idea of a value to that command, like the perform script runs, and normally it's hard coded to run a script. But what if you pass it like a script parameter? You pass the perform script command a script parameter. That makes sense? No? Maybe? Well, it's another conversation. So it's indirection, as opposed to I'm going to call a script very specifically XYZ. Okay.
Media PC is asking me if you're a helicopter parent, or rather, Richard is a helicopter parent? Question mark.
Parent? No, my kids all grew up. I mean, helicopters, right? So.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
no, you have a helicopter. Like you are the parent of a helicopter. Yes, but.
Yeah, well, helicopter parenting is an idea where you hover over your kids constantly and blow air down on them, hover over them, because you're hovering over them constantly. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Bye.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.